What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to greencardguys.tv. This is 2025, January 20th. President Donald J. Trump is back in office for 2.0, and we are ready. Immigration attorneys are ready to take his administration on, as always, okay? Now we are better equipped than the past, of course. So I want to keep you updated. A lot of things happened today. It has not even been 24 hours. Okay, so some quick news about personnel regarding related to immigration is that the acting head of immigration court system, along with three key leaders here, were fired soon after the Trump administration took office today. And according to three sources familiar with the matter, okay, so this is reported on New York Times. Now, four officials, including Mary Chang, the acting director of the Executive Office of Immigration Review, aka the Immigration Court, and three others that were fired were Sheila McNulty, who's a chief immigration judge, Lauren Alder Reed, the head of policy for the agency, and Jill Anderson, the general counsel for the court. Okay, Executive Office Immigration Review. Just want to share that very quickly because, of course, unfortunately, they may have some viewpoints that Donald J. Trump and his team do not agree with. Okay, right? When anytime this changes with administration, the directors, the leaders of certain agencies change. Now, this is one that was quickly changed the same day as him taking oath. So he's serious about immigration, as he's been talking about for a long time. So I'm not trying to hear a fearmonger. What we're doing on this channel is to share facts. Okay. All right, so he also signed several executive orders. I'm going to share my screen here and take a look. Boy, oh boy, who expected this? Drop in the comments if you expected this to be. This is literally the homepage of the whitehouse.gov. Take a look. You can see that here, whitehouse.gov. Actually, when I first went to whitehouse.gov about a few minutes ago, it showed the chopper landing, and then he got out of the chopper, and then it went to this. America's back, as he claims. Okay, so oh boy, oh boy. So here's 5 pages worth, web pages, okay, worth of executive orders, presidential actions that he signed. I'm not going to go through all of them because not every one of them are related to immigration, but let's start with this one, okay? The initial rescission of harmful executive orders and actions. And the specific one related to that is related to the prosecutorial discretion memo. Okay, the order related to that, and that is one of the beginning ones here. They wrote in here, purpose and policy. The previous administration has embedded deeply unpopular, inflationary, and illegal and radical practices within every agency and office of the federal government. Now, please know, of course, whether you feel a particular way of certain executive orders and what he's done already. I'm just trying to state facts here, what has happened so far, and I feel a certain way for many of these. But I'm going to keep it to stick to immigration on this channel, on this video. So, of course, if you have any concerns, thoughts, please share. You're welcome to share as a comment down below in the comment section. If you have any questions, please do that. Please go ahead and write that down, type it in. So here it is, Executive Order 13993 from January 20th, 2021, the revision of the Civil Immigration Enforcement Policies and Procedure. He rescinded that, okay? President Trump rescinded that. So if this is related to the prosecutorial discretion. Now, ultimately, you'll see in a few minutes here something related to prosecutorial discretion, okay? So in terms of enforcement priorities. Here's the thing. Again, I'm not here to fearmonger. We're here to share knowledge. If you believe you are eligible for any kind of immigration benefit, ultimately obtain non-immigrant status, maintain your non-immigrant status, obtain residency, maintain residency, securing U.S. citizenship through naturalization, and even to maintain that, to prevent getting that revoked, you need to contact an immigration attorney. Of course, here at Green Card Guys Law Group, we're happy to help you. We're happy to review your case, your facts, your situation, to verify if we can even help you. Okay, so the best way to do that is click below in the description box. There's a link starting with ZAP. Click on that to see which type of meeting you want to have. All right, if you already know you have a pretty decent idea you want to authorize our team to help you, go ahead and click option number one. You're going to speak with a client care specialist. They are not attorneys. However, we train them literally every day. They're probably tired of hearing from me. But if you want to speak directly with an attorney, it's absolutely important. We provide you access to attorney. We do charge 3 digits for that. That is option number two in the description box. Okay. Now back to the executive orders here. Now, one of the first ones I want to share with you specifically, it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be up. I believe it's going to be an uphill battle for the president on this one. Okay, and you may already know what I'm talking about here. They call it the protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship, aka he wants to end birthright citizenship. Of course, I have to add a little thought here. In my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, it's going to be an uphill battle, but the fact that he's doing this, of course, I think is outrageous. But he's playing to his base. Okay, so if you are someone that's a quote unquote MAGA Trumper, more the merrier. Please comment on my channel. I always welcome that. Some attorneys don't like that, of course, but I always want to learn what you're thinking. What's your thoughts on this? Now, if you're not a MAGA person, you're not a Trumper, I also want to know your thoughts. Please drop in the comments. Okay, so let me share some more details here. They give some contextual history, historical background here on what happened, trying to claim what happened, and it got misinterpreted. We didn't try to claim it didn't mean to provide birthright citizenship, regardless of the status of the parents. I want to share with you Section 2 policy. It is the policy of the United States that no department or agency of the United States government shall issue documents recognizing U.S. citizenship or accept documents issued by state, local, or other governments or authorities purporting to recognize U.S. citizenship to persons. Number one, when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the person's father was not a United States citizen or a lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. That was a mouthful. Now, or number two, the second scenario, when that person's mother's presence in the United States was lawful but temporary, so AKA non immigrant visa, and the person's father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. So, what does this mean? If you're wondering, does that mean if like you're in this situation that you could potentially have been included in this? Well, first of all, it says that this shall apply only to persons who are born within the United States after 30 days from the date of this order. Okay, so I guess that's some relief, but it's still ridiculous, outrageous that this is going on. Okay. All right, so they're not talking about President Trump, not talking about people from before today or between January 20th until 30 days after that. Okay, but still, hypothetically, this is including people that let's say if parents who have no status or they have non-immigrant visa status, let's say such as H-1B, and they have a child here in America, that person is not going to be deemed a U.S. citizen. That's what they're trying to claim here. That's what they want to try to accomplish. All right, another one I want to share with you here. I'm trying to hit high level here for you. Protect the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security public safety threats. Also signed today, January 20th, 2025. So there's, of course, each one of these, there's a lot to talk about, but again, I'm trying to hit high level here. So I want to share with you the section. Well, let me share first the policy and purpose here. Section 1. It is the policy of the United States to protect its citizens from aliens who intend to commit terrorist attacks, threaten our national security, espouse hateful ideology, or otherwise exploit immigration laws for malevolent purposes. Oh, okay. Interesting. They just want to tuck in immigrants there. All right. So, Section 2, enhance vetting and screening across agencies. Look, if you've been listening to watching our Green Card Guys videos, tuning in live, you know I talk very often about mandamus cases, mandamus lawsuits, including those of people who are abroad, whether they had the interview or waiting for the interview. But there's even some of y'all might not know this, but a lot of people are what we call in a situation called administrative processing or receive a letter notice called 221G. They have to fill out a form called DS 5535 And then let's say 6 months later, 1 year later, what's going on with the case? Like, why are you still waiting? And you finally get some kind of response from the embassy or consulate, and they email you back. You get a letter, email that says, case is still undergoing background check. And you're thinking to yourself, well, if that was the case, wouldn't have they done that already? So it's a cop out reason. Okay. In the name of national security, of course. Everything's under the rationale of national security. Thinking about TikTok. Another thing to share with you, letter F here. Evaluate the adequacy of programs designed to ensure the proper assimilation of lawful immigrants into the United States and recommend any additional measures to be taken to promote a unified American identity and attachment to the Constitution and laws and founding principles of the United States. Oh, how pleasant. That seems nice. Does that mean like they're gonna give out like free English classes? I mean, that sounds nice, but seems like a slippery slope here. Just a little prediction. Maybe in the future they'll sign some kind of executive order or pass through Congress that English is the official language. Now I know some of y'all are like, well, doesn't that make sense? Just something to think about. There's a lot of interesting things here that you can glean some insight on that not just for the present time, but for the future. That's actually something, not to get too much into political talk here, but that's actually something that it seems that the Republican Party seems to be really in tune with building for the future, how they want it. Now, if you're with the Democratic Party or another political party, y'all might want to get your act together and start thinking how they think. Let's show you another. Of course, again, there's a lot more detail in here, but now I want to share with you another executive order here, presidential action, protecting the American people against invasion. Section 1, purpose. Over the last 4 years, the prior administration administered, and oversaw an unprecedented flood of illegal immigration into the United States. Millions of illegal aliens crossed our borders or were permitted to fly directly into the United States on commercial flights and allowed to settle in American communities in violation of long-standing federal laws. Now, I'm just going to try to like summarize as succinct as possible. If you're wondering, like, especially if you haven't been following immigration news in the last 4 to 8 years, I don't know how you've been hiding under a rock, but okay, let me try to summarize this for you. There's always been humanitarian parole. The Biden administration expanded that to several, about, if I don't have the long list in front of me, but I know it included like Nicaragua, Venezuelans. We don't handle that case type, okay? More or less, if I can summarize that, it was a shit show. People wouldn't be able to know, track timing, if it would be, oh, am I going to get approved or not? Anyways, there's something called on CBP1 app. Well, they don't have that anymore. They got rid of that as of today. So if anyone was concerned about that, if you were to be approved of humanitarian parole, then yes, you were approved so you could fly in. You didn't have to walk in, crossing the border illegally. So the whole purpose of this program was to slow down the flow of migration, to tell people, for the Biden administration to tell people, you apply on the app or online and you essentially wait your turn until you're approved. And of course, not everyone was approved. I don't know the data right now, how many people were still waiting on the app versus approved. I can tell you many people were not approved and still waiting for any kind of decision. Okay, so another thing I want to share with you here. So that's just some historical context for the last 4 years, at least, to share with you. Please drop in the comments if you have experienced filing for any related application like that. I'm curious what your experience is. To go in a little bit more further about this, many of these aliens, unlawfully within the United States, present significant threats to national security and public safety, committing vile and heinous acts against innocent Americans. I'm just a little curious why they added some words like innocent Americans. They, as opposed to non-innocent Americans, and they said many of these aliens unlawfully in the United States presented significant threat. So I, as an attorney, I think, oh, another word of that is majority. And I know that is false. I certainly know that's false. There's bad people everywhere. They have different kind of status, socioeconomic status, whether undocumented or not. Could be a citizen or not. Yeah, I am a little curious about the data. Where are they getting this data? Now, I mentioned about the purpose. Now, let's go into the policy here. It is a policy of the United States to faithfully execute the immigration laws against all inadmissible and removable aliens, particularly those aliens who threaten the safety or security of the American people. Further, it is the policy of the United States to achieve the total and efficient enforcement of those laws, including through lawful incentives and detention capabilities. I can see through that. I can figure out what they mean by lawful incentives and detention capabilities. But what do you think? Drop in the comment. What do you think? I'm certainly concerned, especially about the lawful incentives. Very, very concerned. Okay, so when I think of that, I think of this section, relevant section number 11, federal state agreements related to section 287G of the INA, which is the Immigration Nationality Act, the Immigration Bible, essentially. Oops, the handbook. Okay, this is essentially allows the state and local law enforcement authorities to share information with the federal officials, with the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. Okay, so the other thing I have thought about is related to the lawful incentives, sanctuary cities. And here it is. Okay, Section 17, sanctuary jurisdictions. It says that the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall, to the maximum extent possible under the law, evaluate and undertake any lawful actions to ensure that so-called sanctuary jurisdictions which seek to interfere with the lawful exercise of federal law enforcement operations do not receive access to federal funds. Further, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall evaluate and undertake any other lawful actions, criminal or civil, that they deem warranted based on any such jurisdiction's practices that interfere with the enforcement of federal law. I do expect lawsuits in the future. I expect lawsuits in the future for many of these scenarios that I just mentioned and more to come. Now, again, related to that, right? This is the executive order related to protecting the American people against invasion. Now, as you may know, you may have heard of something called Senate Bill 5, Lincoln Riley Act. Okay. Now, this particular one is for the current Congress, 119th Congress. This has been sponsored by Republican out of Alabama, Senator Katie Britt. And the articles I read is expected that the vote could happen today, actually, January 20th. So we'll certainly update you. This is a concern because for some reasons, number one, it essentially gives states power to sue the federal government, just plainly right here. That's one of them. But the other thing is that this bill requires DHS to detain certain non-U.S. nationals, aka aliens under federal law, who have been arrested for burglary, theft, larceny, or shoplifting. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, doesn't that make sense? Like, they could be detained, right? Well, if you look closer here, it says who have been arrested. It does not say who have been convicted. I'm not trying to say someone who stole a candy bar should not get detained, but let's weigh the severity here, right? Drop in the comments what you think because I've known of people, I've been in the wrong place, wrong time. And fortunately, I don't know anyone has committed burglary, but I've had some clients that theft of less than $50. In this, it doesn't specify, okay? It does not specify. However, not only that, I did mention a second ago that the bill also authorizes states to sue the federal government for decisions or alleged failures related to immigration enforcement. Now it says specifically the state government may sue the federal government over a decision to release a non-US national from custody. Okay, so let's say like the next president after Trump, let's say regardless of which party, right? But they change their federal policies and say, oh, look, we're just going to release that person from detention center. Somehow, whichever state that person is released into, let's just say Texas, it has the right, according to this law, to sue the federal government over the federal government's decision to release a non-U.S. national. Imagine that situation in the future. I'm going to keep this as PG as possible. And then there's several other situations that you can read here, but this is a slippery slope. I anticipate, especially when, even though every party every branch of government is controlled by the Republican Party, I do anticipate lawsuits to happen because people could be released in the future because maybe it was only a candy bar. I don't know. That was stolen. And then somehow one of the states find out and then they sue based on that. This will create an uproar. If not many people know about the Lincoln Riley Act, maybe because it hasn't been passed yet, but they soon will find out because I anticipate several lawsuits. Again, not just for this one. Now, one more thing I want to share with you, just to wrap up here. I thought I was done, but there's more. Okay, guaranteeing these states protection against evasion. Okay, he signed this proclamation. Now, I'm going to summarize as quickly as possible here, but so I'm just going to scroll all the way down there. But more or less, the president's just saying, we should do better. We got to do our job, the federal government, and enforce immigration laws. So the last 4 years they didn't do that because at least 8 million illegal aliens were encountered. I'm pretty surprised they have that data. I'm impressed. If that's true, I'm sure it was a lot. Regardless of that fact, let's go down. Okay. I have determined that the current situation at the southern border qualifies as an invasion under Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution of the United States. Accordingly, I'm issuing this proclamation based on my express and inherent powers in Article 2 of the Constitution, suspending the physical entry of aliens involved in invasion into the United States across the southern border until I determine that the invasion has concluded. So first of all, he used the word invasion. I think what he means is the migrants crossing. Because I'm not aware of any warfare going on at the southern border, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not there. Okay, I haven't been there. I've not traveled there. But this is obviously a concern. But the one program that is going to be reinstituted because of this is the migrant protocol program. Okay, and to summarize, that's where migrants who would have entered into the United States, have to stay in Mexico to wait out their asylum hearing or asylum interview. So stay tuned on this. This is a concern for many people. I know many immigration lawyers are going to reviewed probably, if not one, but several of these executive orders, and we're all working together to collaborate. So if you are one of those immigration lawyers, please reach out. Okay, this can be a lonely world for us practitioners. Let's work together to advocate for our clients. Okay. Now, whether you have non immigrant status, any kind of status in the United States, or you don't have any, and you want to know how to get ready, how to protect your status, or how to obtain legal status, you need to talk to immigration lawyer. Now, I'm just one of many, of course, right? Here at Green Card Guys Law Group, we're happy to help you. We're happy to guide you. Whether you already filed your case, maybe you received a request for evidence, don't let your money go to waste because you already paid the government fees. Because I know many of y'all watching our channel here, some of you have an attorney, and they're probably really good, but I know some of you don't have a good attorney. Let's just say bad attorney, or maybe we don't want to call them bad. Maybe just say unresponsive attorney or law firm, right? An attorney is focused on working on cases, but they should have a team to help respond to you. Okay. Or maybe you don't have an attorney at all and you just maybe want an opinion, want a strategy session. Contact our team. The link is down below. All right. Don't be shy. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.